Be talking to the, oh, I understand he is good right now. I'm talking about Connecticut Senator, former vice presidential candidate Joe Liebermann. Senator, thank you for coming.
Good to be with you again, Neil. Thank you.
You're saying we're sort of booping around on this. It's time to get serious. When you say serious, do you mean military action, and if so, what type?
Yeah, I do, and listen, I just came back from the Middle East. I visited several countries, including obviously Iraq, and what's clear is that a major conflict is emerging in the region between Iran and its agents and the rest of the region. Its agents, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in the Palestinian Authority areas, and the extremists in Iraq. And what I said is that our military has been making clear for months now that the Iranians are training and equipping extremists to come into Iraq, and they are killing with explosive devices a lot of Americans and Iraqis. And you know, this is the main item that the American ambassador put before the Iranians at that historic meeting in Baghdad a couple of weeks ago. They have not responded, and I think if we let them feel that they have immunity to train people over the border in Iran to come back and kill a lot of American soldiers in Iraq, they'll just keep doing that. And I think it's time for them to understand that we're prepared to take military action to knock out the bases at which they're training these killers. I'm not talking about a massive land invasion. I'm talking about a strike to send a message to the Iranians.
All right, well, what kind of a strike and where?
Well, I leave it to the military, but they've indicated previously, our military has, that there's a particular base, at least one, in Iran near the Iraqi border where these terrorists are being trained to go back in and kill American soldiers. They ought not to feel that they have safe haven there. We've given them a warning. We've asked them to comply. From what I heard in Iraq last week, the Iranians are not cooperating, and they've got to know from us strongly that they won't get away with that, because if we let them get away with this, they'll continue to move throughout the region, and if we think we're going to have a prayer of a chance to stop them from developing nuclear weapons, it's not going to happen unless they take us seriously.
Senator, you said we should be very, very concerned about this, but some of the leading presidential candidates, at least to the Democratic Party, have a funny way of showing that concern. They do not echo your alarm. In fact, Bill Richardson, the Democratic presidential hopeful, said, and I quote here, "I would talk to them," referring to the Iranians, "but I would build an international coalition that would promote and push economic sanctions on them. Sanctions would work on Iran." What do you think?
Well, look, I believe in talk too, but you know, the Europeans talked to the Iranians for more than 2 years about stopping their nuclear weapons development program, and it had zero effect. We're talking to them now, and one of the things we're talking to them about is stopping this training equipment of the people coming in and killing American soldiers. In my opinion, they have taken a belligerent act against us. They've gotten involved in the war in Iraq, and if they feel they can get away with that, they'll just keep doing it, not only in Iraq, but elsewhere throughout the Middle East, and ultimately right here in the United States of America. So I respectfully disagree with Bill Richardson on this one.
Well,
he's not enough.
I apologize, Senator. He's not alone. Just coming over the wires right now, Wesley Clark, the former general, was chiding what he called your irresponsible position on Iran, saying that Senator Lieberman's saber-rattling does nothing to help dissuade Iran from aiding Shia militias in Iraq or trying to obtain nuclear capabilities. In fact, it's highly irresponsible and counterproductive. What do you make of that?
Well, I just, to me, it's what General Clark is saying, with all respect, doesn't relate to the realities on the ground in the Middle East. I can tell you that throughout the Middle East, and particularly in Arab countries there, they're worried about the belligerence of Iran. They're worried about Iran getting nuclear weapons. They're worried about Iran operating through its agents throughout the region. And they sent me a very clear message. Unless the Iranians know that America means business, they're just going to keep moving. So I think Wes Clark has got this one wrong.
Well, you know, Senator, it's interesting. Wes Clark, essentially 180 degrees diametrically opposed to your position. All the leading presidential candidates in your party opposed to your position. I know you're an independent, but do you ever feel like the skunk at the picnic here?
Well, I am an independent, and I like to think that I'm holding aloft a very proud part of the Democratic Party's historic tradition as reflected and represented by Roosevelt, Truman, JFK, Scoop Jackson, Hubert Humphrey. Progressive in domestic policy, but very strong in foreign and defense policy. We've got some enemies out there, and they're the main antagonists we're facing today in Iraq, Al-Qaeda and Iran. And we're not going to defeat them with a lot of talk and warm embraces. These people are out to kill us. And we've got to show them that we're prepared to use our military strength, or they will continue to take advantage of us.
So let me ask you just one more question. You've indulged all this political stuff, very gentlemanly as always, Senator. But John Edwards had referred to the war on terror not too long ago as a bumper sticker slogan, nothing more, nothing less. What did you think of that?
Well, I had no idea what John Edwards meant by that. There is a war against terror. We didn't start it. They did. The Islamist extremist terrorists have been attacking us for more than a decade. The war began officially, tragically, on 9/11/01. Again, I'll reflect what I heard throughout the Middle East in the trip I took there last week. They don't think the war on terror is a bumper sticker political slogan. They think it's the most significant threat that they face every day. And of course, so do we. So I was disappointed by that. I have taken some heart from the strong positions that some of the Democratic presidential candidates have taken on Iran. And I hope
Indeed.
they will consider thoughtfully what I'm saying here. This is all about protecting the lives of the American soldiers who are there for us. People say they support our troops. The Iranians are enabling others to kill American soldiers with explosive devices that the Iranians are providing and training terrorists to use. We can't let them continue to get away with that.
Many have likened you, Senator, to a bridge across both political divides here. And I'm asking you this. I'm the only one thinking it, so forgive me if I'm being impolitic. Would you ever entertain running as a vice presidential candidate with a Republican at the top of the ticket?
I think my days of running for national office are over. I got that bug out of my system.
Does that include running as an independent candidate for president?
Yeah, I think the way I can best serve this country that I love is in the United States Senate, and I look forward to continuing to do that in the most clear-spoken and independent way I possibly can.
I have a feeling you will continue to do that. Senator Liebermann, thank you very much. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Neil. You too.